Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel for all my new subscribers. Hi, my name is Aisha Christina. Very nice to meet you. Firstly, if you are brand new here, this is the first video that you're ever watching of mine, subscribe right now. Subscribe. And while you're at it, make sure that your post notifications are turned on so that you are notified every single time that I post. Also, make sure that you are following me on Instagram, guys. We've got a little bit of a color theme situation going on. We are onto the blues now. I love blue. Don't you guys love blue? And that will be right here. And also make sure that you guys are subscribed to my mailing list, the A-list, so that you know whatever is going on with me and my channel before it even hits my channel. And today's Quality Queen comment of the day says, God bless you, I needed this. I was ready to give up my dream just yesterday. Thank you. That comment really resonated with me, especially because you guys know that I really want to start touching more on the subject of personal development and really encouraging you guys to look within yourselves so that in all the things that you do, you are coming from a balanced and a centered place, and this will affect how you do every single thing in your life. So again, guys, I'm so genuinely grateful to see all of the positive feedback that I have received in regards to the topics that I have been discussing. It is so heartwarming to me that you guys are growing with me and that we can all be on this journey together and encourage one another and inspire one another. And also, you guys know that I recently released the Quality Queen Control podcast, and I will come out with a brand new episode every Monday, which is now available on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor, and pretty much all places where podcasts are streaming. So please be sure to check that out. All the information that I have said will be in the description box below. Today's video, guys, is a very important topic to me. And this topic is relevant in so many different ways because, as you guys know, how you do anything is how you do everything. And the same goes for how you think about things as well. So I hope that this video resonates with you and that you can find some sort of inspiration and take something with you to incorporate into your daily life. And I hope that this is something that you need to see. And if it is, do not hesitate to let me know in the comment section below that this video was a sign for you. Today we are going to be talking about imposter syndrome. Are you ready? Firstly, let's begin with the definition. What exactly is imposter syndrome? So according to Google, imposter syndrome refers to an experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. Now, a lot of the times people that are overachievers are going to suffer from imposter syndrome because a lot of the times they attribute their success to just luck. So I have a question for you. How many of us have low self-esteem at times? How many of us feel like we weren't worthy of a certain opportunity or a job promotion or recognition for any and everything? How many of us have that feeling or have experienced that feeling? How often do we talk ourselves out of doing what we love? What are we telling ourselves contributing to those negative thoughts that are preventing us from truly living in our purpose and thriving the way that we should? Overall, if you are someone that suffers from imposter syndrome, which we will get more into in the video, it is difficult to internalize your experiences of success. And here's why. So some experts do believe that imposter syndrome has to do with personality traits such as perfectionism, anxiety, or neuroticism. But others say that different factors like family and behavioral factors can attribute as well, like your childhood. And just essentially people that have this perception that in order to be loved or lovable, I need to achieve X, X, and X. And what this does is it becomes a perpetuating cycle. And there are so many different signs of this. And I also want to share a little bit of my own personal perspective on this subject as well. I believe that this is something that I have experienced even myself in being open and honest with you guys, because I realized in talking to a bunch of my friends that I also was someone that felt like, I know this is something that I love and that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to make an impact and a difference in people's lives, but why am I still feeling at times unworthy of this? Why am I not celebrating certain victories that I have achieved? Where is this stemming from? And it was in discussing this with them that I did uncover where this is stemming from, and I was able to find, the answers for myself. So I just want you to know, just in general, that you are not alone if you feel like this. And the reason why this is so relevant is because everything in your life is connected. Everything. So if you're gonna feel unworthy in an area such as big as your career and your career choices, oftentimes that can bleed into your relationship dynamics with certain individuals. And yes, we believe that we want the best for ourselves and we want the best from other people for ourselves. But if we genuinely don't feel that, a lot of the times that mentality gets compromised and we don't even realize it. So, common signs of imposter syndrome can include self-doubt. I'm not good enough for this. Why does this person believe in me to do this? I don't think I can do this. Also, an inability to realistically assess your competence and your skills. I'm not even really good at this, so I don't even know why this person is asking me this. Downplaying your abilities and the things that you're naturally good at because you don't feel like you are ready for that opportunity. And that even happened to me a long, long time ago. I thought that I wanted to be a celebrity makeup artist. And I remember I was offered an opportunity to do a photo shoot and I didn't want to do it because I didn't feel like I was good enough to do that photo shoot and to do makeup, because that pressure really, really made me nervous. And I all of a sudden started doubting my own ability and skills because I just didn't feel good enough at that time, when the person that wanted to give me the opportunity clearly felt like I was good at what I did. Even attributing your success to external factors. Like, even for me, I was talking to one of my friends and they said, "Oh, I love your makeup." And I was like, "Oh, that's because these lashes are like super nice." And she was like, "Aisha, you are really good at doing your makeup. Like, that's what it is at the end of the day. It's not just the lashes alone." And I thought to myself, wow, why did I just try to stop that right there? Why did I feel like I couldn't really accept the fact that I am actually really good at this? Why couldn't I just accept that? And also, as a sidebar and as a disclaimer, I want you guys to know that I am by no means perfect. Just because you are an expert in a certain area or in different areas doesn't mean that your life is flawless, even in all the areas that you may cover. And there's a lot of social pressure and things that come from our family, societal pressures, so many different factors that play into us feeling as though we are not good enough or as though we are inadequate to do certain things. Sabotaging your own success. A lot of people self-sabotage, even in relationships. Some of us go towards dead-end relationships and we don't realize that subconsciously we knew this was a dead end, and that's why we were going after it, because we weren't supposed to be in it in the first place. Self-sabotaging, downplaying your abilities because, well, you don't feel worthy of it, so let someone else have it. Sabotaging your own success because you're fearful of, once you get it, then what? Where am I gonna go from here? Berating your own performance. It really wasn't even that good. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I honestly feel like I could have did better, but like, thanks. Beating yourself up when, hey, someone said you did a good job, just say thank you. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Not, oh, I mean, it was really nothing. I don't really feel like I did much of anything. It wasn't that big of a deal. Don't do that. Overachieving. A lot of people are guilty of doing this, where it's like, I gotta do this, this, and this because I gotta show that I really am capable and I'm worthy of these things. So if you are the person that education is very, very important in your family, it's like, oh, I gotta get my bachelor's, I gotta get my master's, I gotta get my doctorate. You turn around and you've achieved all of these accolades and you're still hitting a wall. You're still feeling inadequate. you're still suffering from imposter syndrome. You were just good at doing what it is that was expected of you, or doing what it is that you were told to show that you can do it. But then now what? And then also, lastly, this one, setting very difficult goals for yourself that are extremely challenging and difficult to achieve, and then feeling disappointed when you actually don't live up to them. That's also a form of self-sabotage. Oh, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds by next week. It doesn't work like that. And then when you try to achieve that losing 10 pounds in a week, you have no discipline. You haven't cultivated the skills nor a healthy mindset to understand the sacrifice to make that even achievable, if that's even something that is achievable. You can't go from A to B like that without taking the proper steps. Having a healthy mindset, like I said in my previous video, trying to cultivate a positive change with negative thoughts, unrealistic thoughts. So in doing research on this topic of imposter syndrome, there's a book written by an author named Valerie Young called The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women: Why Capable People Suffer from Imposter Syndrome and How to Thrive in Spite of It. In her book, she actually came up with several competence types for people that ideally suffer from imposter syndrome. And I really think that they are so powerful, and I'm really hoping that they could help you guys. So number one is the perfectionist. Wow, I am guilty of this myself. I've said this in so many videos of mine. And they go as far to say that imposter syndrome and perfectionism go hand in hand. So a lot of the times, perfectionists, because we are overachievers, we do set sometimes unrealistic goals for ourselves for that present time. And if we don't achieve it, then we start doubting ourselves and we start worrying about, what does this mean? What does this mean for our future? All of these things. So she also has questions to ask yourself to see if you identify with that competence type. And the one that stuck out to me the most for this competence type of perfectionism was, do you feel like you have to be at 100 all the time? Does your work have to be perfect 100% of the time? And as extreme as that may sound to some people, it's a very real thing. This is what also causes procrastination. I don't want to do this unless I do it 100% right. And even though it's great essentially to have pride in your work, when you just start doing instead of overthinking your every action, you get into the momentum of, no matter what I do anyway, I know I'm gonna be putting out my best. I'm not ever just gonna throw something together and expect, a maximum results. However, there's a difference between not feeling good enough with every single thing that you produce because you have this idea of what perfect is in your head that is unachievable even by your own standards. And a lot of the times, people that have this sort of perfectionistic view on things, success is very rarely satisfying because it never feels good enough. It's like this insatiable feeling of, it could have been better. I'm glad that I achieved my goal, but next time let's shoot for something higher. And you sort of get into this mind frame of never being able to allow yourself to celebrate your own success. And I am 100% guilty of this myself. At the end of the day, we will never be perfect all the time. Mistakes are a part of your journey, and I feel like I've genuinely learned to embrace those things and to be okay with those things. Next, another type of imposter syndrome is the Superwoman or the Superman. Some people just push themselves to the brink just so they can prove that they are capable of doing that job. But essentially, it's just a false cover-up for their insecurities. So they have to always push themselves to do the biggest thing, the best thing. And what this competence type tends to do is, even though they are capable of handling a very heavy workload, it a lot of the times affects their relationships with people because they are always trying to outdo people. They are competitive for no reason, trying to outrun themselves when no one is even really paying attention to them necessarily in that way. And they're trying to compete to be the best because they just genuinely don't feel like they are. So they turn everything into a competition with people. And that is their driving motivation for their level of success. And that's not necessarily always a good thing, is it? And this also comes with a set of questions. I will have this in the description box below, guys, the questions for all of these competence types. But the one that mainly stuck out to me was, do you feel like you haven't truly earned your title? That despite the numerous achievements or degrees that you have, you still feel like you have to work harder and longer than those around you. Think about that. Because here's the reality. Some people that suffer from imposter syndrome, a lot of the times are workaholics. They are addicted to the external validation that comes from working extra hard. And even though they are very, very good at it, if they don't receive the feedback that they felt like they deserved, everything comes crashing down. And this is why it's so important to learn how to have balance in your mindset, and also at the same time, learn how to take constructive criticism. Because a lot of people are super hypersensitive about their craft, which is understandable, but at that same time, they get so offended because they put so much hard work, because they're so intense with everything, that you tell them one thing and it's like, so you're shutting me down. So you're saying that what I did wasn't good enough. Then you sort of have this dialogue with yourself of, nothing I ever do is really good enough. Like, I know that this is the best. Like, I literally spent so many hours doing this and it's still not good enough. It's still not getting the feedback that it deserves. And listen, I'm not saying that you're a bad person for feeling like that, but how are you gonna bounce back from it? You can't do this with every single project that you put your all into and expect the same fire and passion that you have. Other people may not receive it well, and your confidence goes right down the drain. You start questioning every single thing about yourself in that moment because people decided that it wasn't really up to par, whatever that means for them. So when you start to build that internal validation, you'll be able to nurture your inner confidence and understand, hey, I am still good at this. I am a really skilled person. I genuinely believe in myself, so I don't need to resort to feeling sad if it wasn't necessarily perceived in the best way by other people. I know for myself that I did the best that I could. That is genuinely all the satisfaction that I need right now. Competence type number 3, the natural genius. Some people in life are just good at a lot of things, and it seems like they're very good at everything. So if they are someone that takes a little bit more time for a certain thing to learn, they are so hard on themselves and they feel this sense of shame of not being able to pick up this certain thing as quickly as they do with everything else. And this is just because they're internal bar is impossibly high, like perfectionists. Now, the difference between these types of people and people that are perfectionists is that they don't necessarily judge themselves based off of ridiculously high expectations. They're more judging themselves off of getting it right the first time, the first try, that's it. They want to perfect it immediately. And unfortunately, if they're unable to do that and perform at the exceptional rate that they feel like they should, then they start to worry and freak out. And there are so many great questions that actually come with this competence type. And the one that sticks out to me, I mean, they're really all great, but the one that sticks out to me is, were you told frequently as a child that you were the smart one in your family or your peer group? This creates this narrative for yourself from a child all the way into your adulthood that you are the one that feels like you know everything, or you know more than others naturally. So if you don't want to admit that you may not know something, or you're having difficulty with a certain thing because of the fact that you have this pressure and this narrative in general in your life that, well, I'm supposed to know this, I'm supposed to catch on to this, quite fast because this is what I always do. And what that tends to do is you can't voice how you feel to people because it's embarrassing to you. I'm supposed to know this already. I don't want to talk about this. I made a mistake with this guy. Everyone expects me to have great judgment, and I made a mistake. I don't want to talk about it with anybody. And you sort of just have this inner turmoil all the time between you versus you because you just don't feel comfortable and you're feeling shame around this. Number 4, the soloist. So these are for the people that feel like they don't ever need help with anything. Yes, it's great to be independent. Kudos to you. We all want to be independent. We all strive to have some sort of independence. However, balance in everything. If you find yourself so independent that you refuse to allow someone else to assist you with something so that you can prove that you are worthy of doing it on your own and that you can do it on your own, we have a problem. So the question to ask yourself, if this is you, is do you feel like you have to accomplish things on your own? And not that this is a negative thing, because again, we want to have autonomy, we want to have independence. However, the unhealthy side to that is you are completely incapable of accepting assistance from anyone in anything, even things that are not that big of a deal. You don't have that gauge and that meter in your head because you feel like you need to do it completely by yourself. You don't want anyone to say that they did anything for you. These are things that sort of turn into a negative trait when it comes to something as great as independence. And lastly, the expert. These are people that base their lives on how much they know more than another person, what they know, because they have this kind of irrational fear of not knowing enough or coming across as inexperienced for something. And these are kind of people that probably tend to be know-it-alls. Oh yeah, I already knew that. Yeah, and these people will just absolutely say anything to not allow themselves to look stupid or feel embarrassed for not knowing something when they are a human encyclopedia. It's like, honestly, calm down. It's okay to not know everything. You know, I say this about myself. I may know a lot, but I don't know everything. Everyone has their own area of expertise. No one likes a know-it-all. And this is the question that I love that they said for this one. Are you constantly seeking out trainings or certifications because you think that you need to improve your skills in order to succeed? And yes, naturally, you do need to have a certain skill set, you know, to achieve a certain amount of success or a certain level of success. But when you find the person that's like, I'm certified in this, it's like, you just know when it comes across as like an overload and just very disingenuous. And it's like you're doing a lot and you're doing everything. These people want to be sort of a jack of all trades. And at the end of the day, you cannot master anything doing everything. You just can't. People that can't define what it is that they do because they do so much, not to doubt their capability or their ability to do those other things, but you have to focus on one thing and master it so that you can move on to the next thing. People that try to do everything don't master anything for a reason. Your focus is not on a specific area. Yes, you can act, sing, dance, do all these things. These are things I can do personally myself. You could do nails, you could do makeup, you could do all of these things. What is your focus? If you are someone that feels like you just don't know enough, why do you have this never-ending thirst for needing to know everything all the time and having all of the answers all the time? The only being that has the answers for everything all the time is literally the Lord Jesus Christ himself, not us. Human beings. We know a lot, but we don't know it all. There is always room for improvement. There's always more to learn. So in order to beat imposter syndrome, right? What can we do? Well, number one, you need to be able to distinguish humility and fear. So there is a difference between having humility in your hard work, and there's a major difference between having fear because of your hard work and your achievements. And this is because sometimes being good at something can cause us to naturally discount its value. So if you're naturally good at something, you're not going to feel like people are going to want to listen, people are going to want to buy what you're selling, because we feel like, well, because I'm naturally good at it, should I charge for it? Like, how do I go about that? How do I turn my passion into something that can be monetary for myself? We all go through, experiences like this, especially people that are entrepreneurs, where you feel guilty for putting a price on something that comes naturally to you. Another way is letting go of your inner perfectionist. And I can honestly say I have been working on this, so I have gotten better at this. Perfectionism only feeds imposter syndrome more. And normally when you feel like you're not good enough or you feel incompetent for whatever reason or your achievements, it's because you're probably comparing yourself to your own idea of where you should be, or comparing yourself in general, or expecting an outcome that may not be that idealistic for you at that time. Another way to beat it is to just track and measure your success. This is something that I had to learn to do because I would achieve something and I'd be like, okay, great, like that's not that big of a deal. Let's move on to the next thing and, shoot for the next goal. But you're gonna find that once you knock these goals out of the park, you're gonna be looking at what's ahead of you instead of just taking time to celebrate what you just accomplished. To show yourself that you're actually doing well, it's nice to look over your achievements, whether you're writing them down, you have a little journal for them, so that you can assure yourself that you deserve to be where you are and you deserve what it is that you have. You deserve it. I also want to say talk about it with a friend, maybe a mentor. Just talk about it with someone that you genuinely trust so that they can be a sounding board and have an objective perspective as to how you're feeling, and maybe even share their own experiences with feeling or experiencing imposter syndrome themselves. That way and you're able to distinguish, irrational thoughts from rational ones, and that you also know that you're not alone suffering from this. And lastly, I would say be kind to yourself, because imposter syndrome is a voice in our heads that manifests all these negative thoughts and making us feel like you're not good enough for that, you don't deserve that opportunity. So firstly, you need to stop and catch yourself when you are having these negative thoughts. And a great example of that is when you achieve something, instead of just thinking, well, that's just by chance and I got lucky, actually ask yourself, what are the steps that I took to achieve this outcome? What did I do to get here? Because a lot of people like to look at people and see where they are and try to compare themselves to someone's journey as successful and as far as they have been. And it seems like a lot of easy work, but none of us are really all the time thinking and taking account for what did that person have to do to get to where they are? What did you do to achieve the level of success that you have right now? What do you have to do to achieve the level of success that you want to attain? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. And that will reassure you that, hey, it's not by luck that I actually got here. I had to do A, B, and C to give me the outcome of D, and I happened to get that because I did these steps. It's not just boom, something fell out of the sky and it just happened. Faith without works is absolutely dead. So understand that you deserve your achievements. You deserve where you are in your life. Don't berate yourself. Don't feel these feelings of unworthiness. They're going to manifest in so many other ways in your life. Take time to celebrate your success. And I promise you, when you work on these things, that you will continue to be the quality queen that I know that you all are. So angels, that is the end of this video. I really hope that it has resonated with you. Leave a blue heart in the comment section below if you have watched this video all the way up until this point. If you have any more suggestions for topics that you guys would like to see me cover about personal development, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to check out my description box for all the info on my hair, my makeup, all those things. I always list them in the description box below. And with that being said, do not forget that I love you and God loves you, and I will see you beautiful angels in my next video. Mwah.